Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to take a look at another brand new Takara Tomy Jurassic World Dominion release, and this time we've got ourselves the Giganotosaurus, and the marketing, or I should just say the release of this figure is so weird, and in fact the releases of all of these Takara Tomy Jurassic World Dominion figures are super strange to me because they just don't make any sense. There are like random figures like for the Atrociraptors. We had 3 Atrociraptors in one set and then Tiger separate. I don't know why. Why did they not just include Tiger in that set or release them individually? And then again for this figure is actually not a standalone release. This figure comes in a 3-pack with the Therizinosaurus. Okay, that makes sense because again, final battle scene of Jurassic World Dominion features the Giganotosaurus. So you would think maybe the next one included would be Rexy. Nope, it is Velociraptor Beta. I don't know why. It's so weird, so random, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And because of that reason, I've chosen, rather than kind of reviewing the figures together, even though this is part of a 3-pack of figures, I'm still going to review each dinosaur individually, except for Beta. I'm going to put Beta in a review with Velociraptor Blue, because I just feel like that makes more sense as far as the reviews go. I did want to stress why I'm reviewing this one individually, and will continue to review the others individually for the most part, and let you guys know again that I'm not just doing it out of pure insanity, it's just that Takara Tomy does not make sense to me. But again, this time we've got the Giganotosaurus, and yet again I think Takara Tomy has done a pretty good job on this one. As far as the screen accuracy goes, it definitely looks like the Giganotosaurus from Dominion. I feel like the head sculpt of the Giga from all of the Mattel figures has been really off compared to what the Giganotosaurus actually looks like in the film, but I really feel like Takara Tomy captured that a lot better here in their version. It's kind of a toss-up to me as of right now, whether this is the better version or the Toy Monster International Captives version would be better. I'm not too sure which one I would prefer, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at this one right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Giganotosaurus, you can straight away, and I think if you look at it here kind of from the front, first of all, the lower jaw is apparently a little crooked, but when you look at it from the front, you can really see that it does have the likeness of the Giganotosaurus from Dominion. Definitely has a fairly nice looking head sculpt, except for the fact that no matter how much you close the jaw, you still see the pink there on the inside of the mouth, and that definitely takes away quite a bit, I think, from the overall appeal factor of the figure, because it just doesn't look that great. Once you open the mouth, it doesn't look terrible, but it still looks a little bit off. I'm not sure what they did here with this one, but it definitely isn't as nice as your standard Takara Tomy figure usually is. But again, as far as the rest of the detailing and everything goes here, you can see the skin texture looks beautiful on the face of the Giga. You've got the nostrils sculpted out there, the eyes as well. The eyes are kind of almost squinted on this version. You can see the eyes are painted with that nice greenish tone that we do see on the Giga in the film. And you have this nice greenish tone for the primary body, but you have these darker tones that kind of run down there into the face, all around the eye socket and heading toward the palate area. You've also got some okay looking skin texture here for the lower jaw. The teeth are pretty much your standard when it comes to Takara Tomy. You can see they look okay, but they're kind of sloppy, not really that great. The paintwork specifically is definitely a little sloppy on the teeth of this version. Again, you can open the jaw really, really wide. You can really get that open, and you can now see that the paint stops because we have it open so far. But you have a nice pinkish tone there for the inside of the mouth, and you can see the tongue also sports that pinkish tone. Not really too much going on detail-wise in there, but at least we have an articulated jaw. That's pretty fun. I just wish it looked better once it was closed. As you start to lead down the course, actually on the top of the head, you can see we have that greenish tone, but we transition very smoothly to that darker tone up there. And then we begin running down the course of the neck, and you can see those trademark ridges picking up there on the top of the head for our Giganotosaurus. You can also continue to see the nice looking skin texture, as well as some nice creasing, especially down here in the throat region. You could definitely see a good bit of creasing there. The throat itself is also nicely elaborated. You can see some skin detail there as far as like skin wrinkles and skin folds and stuff. And again, we have that very nice, almost an armored type of a look here to the upper side of the Giganotosaurus. But as you lead down, you've got a pretty nice looking arm sculpt. Again, some more nice looking skin texture. You've got some okay looking fingers, and you kind of have those big bulky nails you usually see with Takara Tomy. They're painted with a gray, but they don't look terrible, I guess. They look better than they have on some other figures. Pretty nice looking skin texture yet again here in the stomach region. You can see those stripes are really nice, really smooth as far as the application of the paint goes. You can see the ridges running down here, and then they get really small, but then they pick back up again in the mid-back area like you see on the Giga in the film. And the actual detail of those ridges is pretty nice. You can see some nice kind of cracks and crevices within that area, so it definitely looks nice. And we have again those kind of armored like scoots running along the back of our Giganotosaurus right there. Pretty nice looking muscle definition moving down the thigh into the calf region. You've got the knee there elaborated a little bit. Very nice looking foot sculpt down here as well. The toes are really spread apart, but you can see it looks very bird-like. We again have some nice scoots down the toes as well as a nice grayish tone for the nails. And we do have dew claws, but boy do they look terrible. Look at how big and rounded out they are. They just look rough, but they are painted at least. As we come back up here, you can again see more of the really nice looking skin texture. It pretty much contains the same style of skin texture through the entire figure. I don't really notice any major differences outside of that kind of armored area up here. Maybe the underside will sport a different look, but you can again see those stripes. As we continue to lead out, we start to get some of those ball joints that we always find on Takara Tomy figures, and you can see how the ridges continue to decrease in size as we lead out. Almost a crocodilian type look for the back of our Giga. And the darker tone looks really good as far as the application goes. Maybe not exactly the design that we see on the Giganotosaurus, but when it comes to a Takara Tomy version, it's pretty much exactly as I would expect it to be. You can see a very different look for the underside as far as the skin texture goes, though. Really nice looking, honestly. Very nice looking right here in the chest leading down into the stomach region. Beautiful looking skin texture down there. And then again, the opposing side's pretty much going to look exactly the same. We don't have articulated arms or anything like that, but we do have articulated legs, so you can move those all around as much as you would like. And you also again have articulation in the two ball joint areas of the tail, which can move up and down, and you can swivel both. Again, same deal for the rear part of the tail. Can swivel around very nicely, but again, it looks pretty much the same over here as it did on the initial side. Fairly neutral as far as the pose and everything goes on this Giganotosaurus. And honestly, it's a really nice looking version. If it weren't for this area right here, I feel like it might be one of, if not the best versions of the Giganotosaurus that I've taken a look at so far. As far as a size goes, it also has a pretty decent size for a Takara Tomy figure, looking at about the 6 3/4 inches or around 17, maybe approaching 17.5 centimeters. And then for a height to the top of the ridges there, actually in the back of the neck, in the positioning that it's currently in, you're looking at a little over 2 1/4 inches or around 6 centimeters, almost 6 centimeters on the dot. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon next to our Giganotosaurus here. And you can definitely see, as per usual, when it comes to the Takara Tomy figures, it is quite a bit smaller than your average figure, very close to a minifigure size range, but still pretty darn nice overall. Even though it has a smaller size, it definitely has some really nice sculpt and a pretty nice paint job. And then when it comes to smaller Giganotosaurus figures, you can definitely see a very big difference as far as the appeal factor goes between these two. But we have the 5-inch basic version of the Giganotosaurus from Mattel next to our Takara Tomy version. And man, look at a huge difference in the size of the head of the Giga from the 5-inch basic Mattel version compared to the Takara Tomy version. You can really see that the Tomy version is a lot better than the Mattel version, just looking at these two here. Also a lot more screen accurate, I would say, as far as the Takara Tomy version goes. But for another comparison, there is the Toy Monster International Captives version. This is actually the Wave 2 version of the Giganotosaurus here next to our Takara Tomy version, and again you can see a huge difference in size between these two. Even though they are very small, both are small figures, you could definitely see a pretty good difference in the size department. But this is the one that I'm like, I don't know which one's better. I think, honestly, the Takara Tomy version is a little bit less appealing than the Toy Monster International version. I just feel like the sculpt and the overall appearance of the Toy Monster International version wins this round, mostly because it doesn't have that ugly area of the mouth where the pink is showing and stuff. It definitely looks a little bit better, a little bit higher quality on the Toy Monster International version, but both are really nice versions of the Dominion Giga. So this brand new Jurassic World Dominion Takara Tomy Giganotosaurus is another fun release from them, and they have actually released, I would say, probably some of their best figures of all time in this Jurassic World Dominion line. And if it weren't for that one area of the Giganotosaurus looking ugly in the face, I would say this is probably one of the nicest figures of the line I've seen so far. The sculpt is really nicely done, really highly detailed through the entire figure, probably one of the nicer sculpts that I've seen as well from Takara Tomy, and also really quite screen accurate as far as I can tell. Again, I'm no expert on the overall appearance to that Giganotosaurus, but from what I can recall from memory and what I've seen of that Giga, it definitely looks a lot better than the others that I've seen, like the Mattel version. Of course, the Toy Monster International version so far would be the only one that I would say is a little bit better than this Takara Tomy version, but again, the sculpt looks great. The paint job as well is pretty nice for a figure like this, a lot better than we saw in the Atrociraptors, and fairly screen accurate overall, which helps the figure as well. Again, it's not the perfect design compared to what we see on the Giganotosaurus as far as like the way the stripes and stuff come down, but it looks pretty good, and again, it's pretty much exactly as I expected from the Takara Tomy version. The paintwork is really nicely applied as well, and there's no real sloppiness outside of the paintwork of the teeth, because the teeth for some reason of Takara Tomy figures are almost always a little sloppy, but outside of that, I think all of the paintwork looks really nice, like the eye paint and the nail paint and everything. All the stripes are really smooth, so it's definitely got a nice paint job. And then we also have some fun articulation with the jaw articulation as well as the legs and the tail, so you do have a little bit more than your average Takara Tomy figure when it comes to articulation on this one, as we've got 5 different areas of articulation, as you have 2 different joints in the tail, both legs and the jaw. So as a whole, it's a really nice looking figure, not quite as nice as I was hoping due to that area in the mouth, but still really quite nice, and I definitely recommend grabbing it if you are a fan of the Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus. Unfortunately, again, it is a very weird way that they've marketed this one and sold it with a 3-pack with the Therizinosaurus and Velociraptor Beta, but I will include a link in the description to the listing on AliExpress where you can grab it in the 3-pack with the other 2 figures. Again, check the link in the description, go grab this figure from AliExpress if you would like to own it and enter it into your collection, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.